Hello? No, it's fine. So, hope you all are good. And today we are going to start with your modern India. It's kind of preparatory session where we'll discuss how we should approach this two sections of your history. That is your modern India and world history. Yesterday's lecture or this session you attended, no? In that we discussed your ancient and medieval. Okay. So these two sections are actually very much interrelated and have, or you can say they occupy one most important sections of your UPSC syllabus. For example, if you have seen this year paper mains, how many questions were asked total? Uh, that's a general thing, 20 for GS1, but how many questions from history? uh, but too much again. This is very generic answer. So there were total. You guys didn't saw the paper. You yes, yes, in mains, in mains. Okay. So the first thing which I'll ask you to do, always refer previous year paper. Fine. Because UPSC have given us two guides. One is your syllabus. The second one is previous year paper. Unless and until you follow those guides, you will be derailed from the your preparation. So please be careful, and of course we will also keep guiding you guys. But what after end of this session? What after end of this whole coaching? There is a constant guide in the form of your syllabus as well as your previous year question paper. So this you must take care of. So I was coming back to this 2021 mains paper. Most of the questions were from modern India and world history. Only one question was asked from your art and culture section, that was of bhakti. And of course the number of questions vary. In few years you will have more questions from world history sections. In few years you will have more questions from art and culture section, ancient. So that thing is not static, but definitely modern, the number of questions from modern will be on the higher side. And it is one of the most interesting portion of your whole syllabus, whole GS. Why I'm saying whole GS, because it is the foundation. This whole freedom movement and the things which happened in your 18th and 19th century and the first half of 20th century actually laid the foundation for our post independence development, our economic growth and all the things. Got it? So therefore this modern history is the base over which you should move forward on the other sections. Okay, so before how this preparatory class will move forward, the first thing we'll discuss our syllabus. Then we'll see what should be the approach. The approach in for tackling your modern history or modern Indian history and then world history, because there is two different approach. In modern, of course, the questions in prelims will be asked, but for world history you don't have any section of world history in your prelims. Therefore the approach should be different. That need to be taken care of. And at the end we will discuss our 2021 mains paper, both prelims as well as mains. This is how we are going to proceed. Okay, so let's start with this preparatory session. And the first thing, before discussing even syllabus, for history, there is a notion that history is about dates and events. This is a misnomer. Unless and until you just wipe this thing from your mind, you won't be able to connect with history, you won't be able to understand history, and you won't be able to score good in history. So this is the first thing which you should just erase from your mind, that history is about facts and figures. Facts and figures are used to just prove your point. The story is beneath that fact and figure. And this is what makes history interesting. And this is what will help you in getting marks in your UPSC. Okay. So, because UPSC don't want to mug up facts, they will ask in facts, prelims, they will ask few facts. Okay. That is the nature of the examination. But they want you to understand things which you can use in your life, how you can solve the issues when you become an administrator. So history and culture definitely is a very important domain which will help you to solve the practical problems of day to day life in your administrative life. Okay, so this is one thing, that erase that thing that it is facts and figures. Second one, what is about history is, history is continuity and change, a study of continuity and change. Unless and until you connect things, you won't be able to understand it properly. If you are able to understand it, then also you won't be able to retain it for a longer time because you haven't connected things. So if an event is occurring, say socio-religious reform movement, I'll give an example. Say your socio-religious reform movement. Why it started only in 19th century? Why not in 18th? Why not in 17? There must be some underlying factors. Huh? So those factors, you need to connect things. It is connected to world history. The events in your world history, 18th century, the age of enlightenment. And with the coming of your Western education, that enlightenment thoughts, that rationalism, that humanism, that all those thoughts came to India. It is only one of the factors which led to social religious reform movement. There are other factors also, indigenous factors also, but you need to connect things, and I'll show you how to connect. So this is the second important thing, which is generic uh, for all the subject, but for history it is one of the most important. Okay, and so connection done. And in connection, when we are covering any event, please don't focus only on event. Means, okay, an event occurred, say your 1857 revolt of 1857, it happened. Why it happened? The first, that is the cause. Why it happened is the most important thing, and how you can understand it? By understanding the background. So again, event is important, but what is more important is the background, because background gives you the reasons, the causes which led to your any event. I'm just picking one example, 1857. So causes is in the background. Now cause happened, then event. Features of an event. What are the characteristic features of an event that you can get as a separate question? Therefore we will definitely focus on the features of an event. But after features, well, the features is related to the event, but what after, that is your connection. That is what are the impact or consequence consequence of this event on different fields. Got it? So that cycle of thing, and when you read something in cause, features and consequence cycle, you will automatically connect things. Means connection of one part with the another. Got it? So this is done. So these are the basic things which I want you to follow throughout the course, especially history. It can be helpful in other sections also, but especially history, I want you to follow this. Good evening, everyone. And so, done. Now, let's move to your syllabus. Let's move to your syllabus, and that is okay. Few of these things we will discuss in between also, the features and what are the basic things which you should keep in mind. So the syllabus, and as I have told you, only two guide apart from me, means of course we are guide for you. And what is the importance of a coaching or a guide like us? That they will shorten your path. Okay, that is what we will try to do. We will just help you to concentrate on the most important factors which will shorten your path. Otherwise this journey might take years. This UPSC journey is a journey which might take years if you are not guided properly. So the UPSC have provided you two guide. Follow this first thing, and apart from that, definitely we will help you. But yeah, first guide which is given by UPSC, what is the syllabus? Syllabus of your history. So Indian culture part you must have discussed yesterday, so I'm not going to discuss it again. But next thing, that is your modern Indian history from about the middle of 18th century. 18th century. So middle of 18th century, what is the event? 1757 Battle of Plassey. Okay, because that leads to your start of modern age. Therefore, this is the thing it is asking you to read. So that mid of 18th century until the present means post independence included in, if you read it this way, then in these periods, what are the things you need to focus upon? Significant events, all the events which have happened, all the significant events during this phase or after mid of your 18th century. The first significant event is definitely your Battle of Plassey, then Battle of Buxar, then there must be, means it's not only Bengal that they captured, na. There were different principalities or there were different kingdoms which the Britishers defeated or captured. Anglo-Maratha War, Anglo-Mysore War. Even they were in fight with the other European powers. Carnatic Wars. Your Anglo and French War, na? Yeah. So those events are prominent events before 1857. Before 1857. So, but these events are occurring only in the, what we have discussed is regarding only the political dimension. There must be other dimensions also, na? What is happening in the social field, what is happening in the economic field, what is happening in the cultural field, unless and until, because these sections will help you to, actually this will help you to streamline your thought. Always, for any topic, always think on four subheadings. Four subheadings. What are the subheadings? Social, economic, political, and cultural. Can anyone give me, uh, what do you mean by cultural history? Before discussing this, just one thing. What do you mean by cultural history? You guys can also, online people can answer this. Any or if I ask you, what are the ingredients or parts which you study under cultural history, or which you read under cultural history, or which forms your cultural history? What is this culture? uh, yeah, please, please. Hmm. uh, that is history aspect. Leave that. What is cultural? What are the things you study under this cultural history? Unless and until you have clarity over these facts, these terms, you won't be able to think logically. And what I am trying to do is to streamline your thoughts. So whenever you read the term cultural identity, and UPSC is kind of, UPSC loves this term so much that they will specifically ask that, discuss the cultural aspect of any event or anything. So, what is the meaning of cultural history? Cultural history includes art both performing, non-performing. Performing like your dance, music, non-performing like your painting and all that. Architecture, your structural architectures as well as your rock cut architectures. Okay, and language, and literature, and religion, and philosophical thoughts. All of this forms part of your cultural history. Got it? So this brings the clarity now, which you should have whenever you study or whenever you read a term like cultural history. This definition will streamline your thought. Similarly, political, economic, social, what does it constitute of? Say, for example, if I ask you, the social history is your social differentiation. In India, it's caste, your caste system or your Varna Jati system. Then, after this, religion is part of culture as such. Uh, Woman, condition of woman, definitely, it's a part of. Condition of woman is a holistic term in which all of these things will be included. Then your, again, it's, yes, those are social vices you can relate to. uh, as an example, you can say other thing, condition of women, so condition of your untouchable slaves, all that, this also becomes part of your social history. And one phenomena which is very interrelated to economic is your urbanization, which is part of your social, how much population, this population is urbanized or not, that forms part of your social history. So just I just diverted from the topic, but this is to streamline our thoughts. You guys are going to start your preparation or already started this preparation, but the streamlining of your thoughts is most important thing. Unless and until you have clarity over things, you cannot do well in mains especially. Okay, and fine. All these details of the batch starting and all those, you can, the administration guys will definitely tell you. Okay, and so coming back to our syllabus. Though in social sphere, what were the major events which happened? Like that phase is the phase where Britishers tried to reform Indian society through legislation. That phase is the phase where Indians tried to reform the Indian society through social religious reform movements. So those events are the major part, major things which you should study. Then what in economic section? Economic section, definitely. This is the first phase of British imperialism in India. In first phase, before this, before coming of Britishers, Indians were actually occupying a dominant position in this world trade. More than 20% of world trade or one quarter of world trade was dominated by the Indians. Fine. But what the Britishers did, they caused deindustrialization. How they caused deindustrialization, that we need to study. Apart from this, land revenue policy that resulted into impoverishment of rural population. So land revenue and what is it impact, that is what we should that is what we need to study. So under economic section also we have significant events which you need to study, but it is not only the events, there must be some reactions also, and those reactions are in the form of revolts and rebellions. Those rebellions which happened before, you can divide the timeline: 1757, 1857. They are 1857 revolt of your the first war of independence. So this 1857 is actually a culmination of all the revolts which were happening. So why these revolts were happening? It was a reaction against the political changes, the social changes, and the economic changes which were brought by the Britishers. Got it? So this is how you should approach. You need to link things. Means always try to study under social dimension, economic dimension, political dimension, cultural dimension, and for any event, cause, feature, impact. This will definitely streamline your things, and UPSC only wants clarity from you guys. It doesn't want you to read multiple sources, mug up facts, and complicate things. No. I don't believe in that. I'll I'll come to that bibliography aspect, that which books you should refer, and the success, the motto of this, or this whole, you can say, single line, if I want to for any student, for guidance, if anyone ask me to define it whole guidance aspect in one single line, then I'll say: minimize your sources, maximize your revision. This is the mantra of success. Then your strategy, then your approach to study need to be changed. That can be a thing, but never maximize your sources. Leave it to us. Believe on us that we will do that part for you, because this is how I can shorten your path. Na? If I'll ask you to read, say, for modern India, I'll ask you to read Sumit Sarkar also, Bipin Chandra also, Shekhar Bandyopadhyay also, then you will be only reading history for 1 year. What about other parts? Be practical, and this is how you should approach your examination. बिल्कुल आ सकता है. पेजेंट रिवॉल्ट क्यों नहीं आ सकते हैं? एंड व्हाई नॉट ट्राइबल? 1757 इज मिडिवल सेक्शन ना, तो उसमें यू कैन गेट एनी पॉलिसीज ऑफ मुगल्स, व्हाई नॉट? But 1757 is the starting point of your modern India. I'm just discussing modern, therefore I didn't dwelled into that part. Or for your GS syllabus, mainly it is art and culture of ancient and modern, which is asked. Fine. So now I'm just yes, yes. ठीक है. सो सिलेबस में भी तो वही दिया ना, मिडिल ऑफ 18th सेंचुरी. यूपीएससी ने हमें गाइड करके बताया है. दे हैव टोल्ड अस कि नहीं, उससे पहले जो है वो मिडिवल है, रहने दो. मराठास तो दे आर पार्ट ऑफ दिस 18th सेंचुरी ऑल्सो ना, पेशवाज. व्हाई नॉट? एंग्लो मराठा वॉर हम सब इसमें पढ़ेंगे. सो this is one aspect. Personalities, especially your socio-religious reformers, they are the important personalities of this period. You get question every year based on personality from this period in your prelims. This year also a question was asked. And we will see to that. And issues again, social, economic, political. वही गोल चक्कर है, वही घुमाना है और कुछ नहीं. उन्हीं चीजों को, मतलब सोशल, पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, उन्हीं एस्पेक्ट्स को इंटर रिलेट करके वी विल ट्राई टू actually cover everything. We'll try to cover everything, and you will, and this will be done. Don't think ki, with these only 3 subheadings how we'll cover the whole of modern India. We will do. Yes, why not? Because the foundation, again, if you don't know your foundation, you won't be able to solve the practical problems when you will become an administrator. This is what the importance of history and culture is. Any particular event definitely teaches you something, and when you will enter into the field, then the books which you have read na, the learning from that books will help you. And in those learning, it's your culture, because practical problems will happen. Some religious people will say that this is not right, and how you will convince them? It is through these things which will help you to become actually a good administrator. और उससे पहले, this will help you to become an administrator. So exam निकालना है, that is the thing we all are here for, na? So focus on that. Now next is the freedom struggle, its various stages. Freedom struggle, 1857 is actually termed as the first war of independence by certain scholars. And yes, we agree to some extent definitely to that feature of your 1857 revolt. And from that period, your freedom struggle starts. It takes shape after formation of your Congress in 1885, becomes more organized and becomes a mass movement after coming of Gandhi or arrival of Mahatma Gandhi in 1915. And definitely different ideologies are also there after 1915. You have, after even 1920s, we have different ideologies like your left. And why? Again, I'm just focus. There are different ideologies in your Indian freedom struggle. We will see to it. Your Gandhian ideology is definitely one major part of your freedom struggle, but apart from it, you have socialist ideology, that left ideology, and that becomes more prominent only after 1920s. Why it happened so? Because in 1917, Russian Revolution happened, and that actually means that movement or that event actually impacted the whole of world, this whole globe. And Indian political atmosphere was also impacted by it, and this led to your rise of left in India. So everything is connected. If you can connect it, you can retain it for a longer time, and you can write a good answer. So understanding this syllabus, various stages and important contributors and contributions means again personalities. For the national movement, the personalities are definitely role of Mahatma Gandhi, the role of Jawaharlal Nehru, the role of Subhash Chandra Bose, even the role of Rabindranath Tagore. And in your social religious reform movement, we have already seen Vivekanand, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So there are several personalities which you need to study, which you need to focus upon. Okay, okay. Now next is post-independence. Post-independence, and yes, when India became independent in 1947, it had to face several issues. The first and the first issue which they faced was integration of princely states. Integration of princely states. Then they were economically very backward, so economic growth. Then they were not self-reliant, actually. They would need to import food for just feed our population, so self-reliance was missing. On that aspect we need to work. Then even your social aspect, the women's, the rights, even universal franchise was first time introduced in India only in post-independence period, so that political empowerment of all the masses can be done. Your untouchability, the problem of untouchability, the condition of women, all those things. So India was facing so many issues, and on foreign front also. The India didn't want to join any of the members of Cold War or any of the party of Cold War. In the post Second World War period, there is a Cold War, development of Cold War, where one party is led by USA, that is the capitalist world, the other party is led by USSR, that is the socialist or communist world. And India didn't wanted to get engaged or get hinged to any one of the party, because it will hamper unnecessarily. India will become part of the global issues, global war. India was a nascent nation, and this led to the birth of NAM. This led to the birth of, so these all things happened, or these are the things which you need to study in post independence. Consolidation and reorganization. Reorganization, your states were reorganized on the basis of language. State Reorganization Act 1956. Yes. NAM has lost its relevance, and yes, SARC, it is not leading, it means it's not successful in achieving its goal because of some other reasons. But SARC definitely is an important organization. It So we are not, you if you see the, although this issue is of international relations, all this thing, it's not part of your history as such. But I'll say that Indian foreign policy is taking care of that, and therefore we are engaging with different organizations, multinational organizations, and we are not only focusing on that NAM or, for your sake, SARC. Okay. So, but yeah, elaborately you can ask your IR teacher. They will help you this in better way. Okay. So, post-independence, consolidation and reorganization within the country. So this is what we need to study in your modern India, means pre-independence and post-independence. Always try to divide this period of modern India in your 1757 to 1857 and 1857 to your, you can say, 1915, that is arrival of Gandhi, and after 1915 to 1947, post independence. After this will help you to streamline or just compartmentalize few of the things, which will help you in better revision and better understanding. Only for that, otherwise there is no strict division as such. Fine. Because always one thing influences other, one thing influences other. So that is the case. Coming back, uh, this. Okay. This is all. So, syllabus of modern India done. Now, syllabus of world history. World history is, again, if you read the syllabus, what is the timeline? It says from include events from 18th century. The first event which occurred in 18th century is is your event of enlightenment. Event of enlightenment. Okay, let me. So we'll start world history with enlightenment because it is the base of your all the major events. It have a clear-cut influence on all the major events of the world which occurred in 18th century. And what are the major events? Like American War of Independence, like French Revolution, and later on unification. Those redrawal of national boundaries. Redrawal of national boundaries is part of your syllabus also. So redrawal of national boundaries include your this part of that is post 1917 definitely, but before Russian Revolution, your First World War, Second World War, definitely all those things. And so the syllabus says, because it doesn't define or clearly states all the major events which have occurred during this period, therefore we need to add a few things. It's not like that only industrial revolution, world wars, and nothing happened in between. French Revolution, this Napoleonic Empire, this whole thing have a impact from which started in 1789. It actually culminated only after 1878, the Treaty of Berlin, 1878. So from 1789 to 1878, the whole period is only focusing on two forces: nationalism and democracy. Nationalism and democracy. From where? What is the birth of these two forces? Your French Revolution. So, which is not mentioned as such. Redrawal of national boundaries, yes. Unification of Germany and Italy are the two major events. Otherwise, other nations also became independent: Belgium, Greece, the fall of Ottoman Empire, and therefore the birth of a large number of nations in your Eastern Europe. In Eastern Europe. Colonization, yes. This is the event which started in modern days. It started in your 15th century. Then major players were Spain and Portugal. It, to some extent, it declined in the first period of 19th century, but again picked up. But again picked up in your second half of 19th century. What were the reasons it again picked up? And this second phase is also termed as neo-imperialism. Neo-imperialism. And why it picked up? What was its impact? Fine. So why it picked up? Because some new players were added. Some new players like Germany and Italy. After unification, 1870-71, Italy was united in 1870. Germany was united in 1871. French though were colonizers from starting. Britain and France, they were colonizers from very start. In 15th, 16th century, you have Spain and Portugal also, but Spain and Portugal, the power of Spain and Portugal actually decreases with time and with the rise of your Britain and France. And in your second half of 19th century, two more players emerges, and that is Germany and Italy. Especially Germany, it wants to conquer the whole of world. And the race of colony starts, and this results in a scramble for Africa. Okay, I'm just giving you few examples to make you understand this colonization thing. Yes, it's this colonization and decolonization is actually the most important topic for your examination, especially this decolonization, because this is what is a symbol of independence. Means the whole of your South Asia and Southeast Asia, they were, even Africa, they were colonized during your 19th century and early part of your 20th century. So their independence movement is very inspiring. Even Indian independence movement, it's every Indian should know how we achieved it. What are the contributions of those who made us achieve this? Don't forget those contributions. And on in Indian history, we read their contribution, but in the world scale, the decolonization. It's an important topic which you should definitely focus upon from your exam point of view. Okay, and next one, political philosophies, communism, capitalism, socialism. Okay, so which one arrived first? Capitalism, socialism, or communism? Capitalism. Okay. From US. Okay. Okay. No, nation-wise, I'm not focusing. Your example is not. The work of Adam Smith, the principle of laissez-faire. Before that, the age was before this industrial revolution, because industrial revolution led to rise of capitalism. Capitalism. Before this, there was mercantilism. Mercantilism is, what is this principle? Gold is actually a sign of your wealth. So the main goal of mercantilism was to increase your wealth. How they can increase it? By increasing the export and minimizing the import. By increasing export, they will get money in the form of gold. Therefore, this mercantilism is related to accumulation of gold. So the aim is your this concentration of wealth. But capitalism, Adam Smith says that concentration of wealth is not a thing. The goal is laissez-faire. The goal is free trade. Let the world trade freely. The economic growth will simultaneously happen, and this led to the rise of capitalism. But capitalism, industrial revolution, they are very much interrelated. What is the impact, negative impact of industrial revolution? Negative impact of industrial revolution, that is on the from the side of colonization, you are saying. For Indian, definitely the industrial revolution of England impacted India negatively. It caused deindustrialization. But for England, for Europe, now I am concentrating on world history, na? So for Europe, what was the thing? Hmm. But that's not negative as such, na? What is the negative impact? Social inequality. Environment is a new buzzword. Of course, because the challenges we faced, this is a 21st century thing. In the last phase of 20th century, we started this environmental conservation and all those things. Before that, but this industrial revolution is your 18th century phenomena. So, what is the negative impact? Your social inequality. The world is divided into haves and have-nots. This led to the rise of socialism. What socialism tries to achieve? Egalitarian society. Against the negative impact of your industrial revolution, there is a rise of socialism. The Karl Marxism. The second means, of course, socialism have different variants. Marxism is one of the most critical variant, radical variant of socialism, which was given by Karl Marx against the social inequalities, which were, or against the negative results of your industrial revolution. Agree? And again, the last phase of socialism, the final phase of socialism is your communism. So, all those four things you can connect: capitalism, socialism, communism. So, these are the things which we need to study and how it has impacted. So, this is a brief idea about the syllabus of your modern India and world history. If you have any doubt, you can ask, or we will. No, 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 no. Socialism is a result or is a force which originated in this world because of the negative impacts of industrial revolution. Against those negative impact, there is a force, and that force is your socialism force. Although it majorly related to industrial revolution, the work of before Marx also there are socialists like your Saint Simon, Fourier. There are other variants of socialism, but that we will discuss when we'll start this topic of socialism. Okay. If you can, have you seen 2013 paper? Means I'm a specific question I'm not focusing on. I'm just focusing on the number of question. But and you, uh, otherwise one question from your world history, and the weightage of history as total around 75 to 85 marks in your total GS paper one. This is how this thing is happening in last 5 years, I can say last 5 years. But UPSC is you in UPSC is unpredictable, and it's part of your syllabus. But we need to be very practical in our approach. Therefore, I won't ask you to read any book in world history, especially any bulky book, NCRT, only NCRT. Apart from that, only class notes. This is the thing you should do when cost benefit analysis. Na? If you start reading some bulky books like Norman Law or any other, but what is the benefit of reading a bulky book if you get only one question? Most of the important topics, almost all of the important topics will be discussed in class. So you need to be very practical in your approach. Therefore, I told you only one mantra of success: minimize your sources, maximize your revision. We are doing it for you. Have believe on your teachers, and definitely you can. It's not like what I'm saying. You need to just follow blindly. You can check what we are teaching through your previous year questions. Na? Is it relevant? Therefore, the second guide, UPSC. I'm not saying that follow me blindly, but you can even check what I'm teaching you is helping you to solve the questions or not. But try to be practical in your approach while reading. Okay, so yeah, स्टेट रिऑर्गेनाइजेशन तो है ही, बट उसके अलावा आपका सोसाइटी भी रिऑर्गेनाइज हो रही है थ्रू योर लेजिस्लेशन लाइक अनटचेबिलिटी. So that is also part of societal, or you can say social reorganization of the country. So that is also an aspect which becomes a part. It's not only the political reorganization of state. हाँ, अच्छा, बिब्लियोग्राफी हमने बात नहीं की है, तो वो हमारा नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है. अभी सिलेबस डन, नाउ बिब्लियोग्राफी. क्या क्या पढ़ना है? फर्स्ट, एनसीईआरटी, मॉडर्न इंडिया. स्टार्ट विद मॉडर्न इंडिया. एनसीईआरटी, ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी, old NCRT of Vipin Chandra. Because new NCRT, yes, new NCRT is very means you can cover it in a go. So ऐसा नहीं है, when I'm saying old NCRT you need not cover new also. New, but new is, you can understand new only after reading old NCRT, because new is focusing only on socio-cultural aspects. It is not focusing on the chronological aspect of your modern India in totality. Therefore, hmm, hmm. No, that in CBSE work is fine. You are asking that the same Orient Black Swan publication, the book of Orient Slagmon. So you can follow it because NCRT is available on online. NCRT is the CBSE gives you access to that. You can read it from here. Why you are focusing on some other thing? The same things are written in that. So don't worry about it. NCRT and NCRT reading. Why? Because book reading has other functions also. सारे टॉपिक तो क्लास में डिस्कस हो ही रहे. Book reading has other functions also, and what is that function? It helps you in thinking. तो मैं क्लास में करवा दूंगा. Then writing. Reading helps you in writing. Newspaper reading helps you in writing, and writing is after this first motto. Second motto is do right. Unless and until you are presentable, you won't get good marks in mains and you won't succeed. कितने भी ज्ञानी हो जाओ, कितने भी ज्ञानी हो जाओ, unless and until you can present your thoughts on the paper within those 3 hours, you won't be able to succeed. Therefore, the second aspect, writing, how to improve upon it? Through reading. Reading अब ये तो है नहीं कि नॉवल पढ़ना है. जब हमें सोर्स बुक है विच कैन हेल्प अस, एंड एनसीईआरटी इज वेरी ब्यूटिफुल रिटन. इट हेल्प्स यू टू राइट important aspect in minimum words. If you read it, if you read the NCRTs, you will see, although it's not, it doesn't discuss any topic elaborately. That is a lacuna, and this is a practical thing for NCRT that I cannot give everything there. But the way in which it is written, it will help you. It will help you to develop this style of writing. And in your UPSC, when you'll write the mains answer, the first problem which you will face is the completion of paper. You won't be able to complete the paper in 3 hours. Why you won't be able to complete the paper in 3 hours? Because first 2-3 questions you will write more than what is required, and because of that the last 2 questions आपके पास टाइम ही नहीं है. सो वो भी टाइम मैनेजमेंट, और वो तब आएगा जब यू हैव दैट स्किल विथ यू, एंड दैट स्किल इज प्रेजेंटिंग योर थॉट्स इन मिनिमम वर्ड्स. That NCRT will help you. NCRT will help you. Apart from that, NTRT definitely it will help you to know the important topics. क्लास में भी हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे इन चीजों को. ओके, सो नाउ NCRT, old NCRT, and of course new भी होगा, new also. Apart from this, your primary source will be your class notes, value addition material from the institute. If you want कि नहीं मैंने तो कसम खाई है किताब पढ़नी ही है, then in today's scenario, although it's a book referred for by the optional student, but I'll ask you to go for शेखर बंदोपाध्याय. बट उसमें भी कैसे पढ़ना है? I'll बंदोपाध्याय, it's not right. So if you insist कि नहीं मुझे पढ़ना ही पढ़ना है, what? Yes, it is on. Don't divide it कि ये किताब मेंस के लिए है, एक किताब पीटी के लिए है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. ये एक गलत अप्रोच है. दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी रॉन्ग अप्रोच फॉर योर एग्जाम. पीटी डेफिनेटली रिक्वायर्स a different approach, but that is during the last leg. जैसे आज है 2022 के जितने भी aspirants हैं, they need to focus more on PT by the end of March. If they are new, तो March start से ही they should have started this. हाँ, तो उसके लिए, but unless and until you have clarity over the subject, you won't be able to pick up things कि बंदोपाध्याय में से क्या पढ़ना. अदरवाइज तो इस किताब में ऑप्शनल वाले भी कहते हैं कि although it's not a very bulky book, but it requires multiple readings to understand it, right? Especially the historians' views, they are not required for GS, so you can leave it. The different views of, because history के साथ एक बहुत अच्छी चीज है कि हिस्ट्री एक ही इवेंट को इंटरप्रिटेशन है. ये It's just interpretation of history. History, yes, it's a fact actually. History is a fact, but fact सिर्फ उसी हद तक जब तक वो इवेंट है, मतलब इवेंट हुआ, that is a fact. But why it happened, there will be different interpretations. तो हिस्ट्री की ब्यूटी यही है, एंड दोज एस्पेक्ट्स यू नीड नॉट फोकस. जीएस के लिए उतना डेप्थ में जाने की जरूरत नहीं होती है, एंड देयरफॉर इस बुक को बहुत कॉशियसली यूज करेंगे, कॉशियसली यूज करेंगे. अदरवाइज प्रैक्टिकल सजेशन नहीं यूज करेंगे, क्योंकि आई विल मेक यू और आई विल टेल यू द इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स फ्रॉम दिस बुक, फ्रॉम अदर बुक्स, बिपिन चंद्रा, सुमित सरकार. वो काम मेरा है, वो काम मेरा है, इसलिए मुझे पैसे मिलते हैं. ठीक है, अगर मैं वो नहीं करूंगा तो मुझे पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे. ठीक है, तो वो मेरे लिए छोड़ दो, एंड कंसंट्रेट ऑन दिस, कंसंट्रेट ऑन दिस. एंड सप्लीमेंट्री नोट्स, जहां कहीं कहीं विल विल प्रोवाइड यू सप्लीमेंट्री नोट्स, वहां कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें जो भी होगी आई विल आस्क यू टू रिफर टू. ओके, बिब्लियोग्राफी भी समझ में आ गई. वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री के लिए अगेन एनसीईआरटी, एनसीईआरटी. और आफ्टर क्लास, आफ्टर क्लास. ठीक है, दिस वन इज क्लियर फॉर वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री. अगेन एनसीईआरटी, ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी ऑफ अर्जुन देव, अर्जुन देव. हाँ, बिल्कुल, ये बहुत प्रैक्टिकल सवाल है, एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली पूरे इस सेशन का ना, मैं कहूँगा बेस्ट सवाल है. बिल्कुल पढ़ना होता है. हाँ, बिल्कुल. कुछ इसलिए इसलिए तो कह रहा हूं, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग बी वेरी प्रैक्टिकल, मिनिमाइज योर सोर्सेज, मिनिमाइज योर सोर्सेज, स्टिक टू दिस ओनली. क्लास नोट्स तो रिवाइज करोगे, मतलब दिस इज योर प्राइमरी सोर्स. एनसीईआरटी कभी मतलब नहीं है, और एनसीईआरटी को हम एक गो में नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं ना. व्हाट आई विल आस्क यू टू डू दैट, से वी स्टार्टेड विद द टॉपिक ऑफ मॉडर्न इंडिया, चैप्टर वाइज पढ़ सकते हो. एंड इट वोंट, एनसीईआरटी इज अ वेरी लूसिड लैंग्वेज में लिखी किताब है, एंड यू वोंट फेस एनी डिफिकल्टी इफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द टॉपिक इन क्लास, और यू विल फील कि ये तो सारी चीजें हम पहले ही पढ़ चुके हैं. बट देन ऑल्सो इट विल हेल्प यू इन डेवलपिंग अ राइटिंग स्किल. देयरफॉर आई आस्क यू टू रीड. वो एक काम है, और एनसीईआरटी और कुछ मत पढ़ो, क्लास नोट्स पे रहो, ये यहीं तक. एंड एनसीईआरटीज आर नॉट अ बल्की बुक, नॉट अ बल्की बुक दैट यू, सब कुछ करना होता है ग्रेजुअली, ग्रेजुअली बढ़ते हैं. एंड हमेशा मान लो यू हैव स्टार्टेड योर ऑप्शनल ऑल्सो एंड योर जीएस कोचिंग ऑल्सो साइमल्टेनियसली, नो इश्यूज. 3 घंटे जीएस, 3 घंटे ऑप्शनल, 6 घंटे की क्लास हो गई. यू विल बी काइंड ऑफ एग्जॉस्टेड बाई दीज टू क्लासेज ओनली. यहाँ पे न्यूज़पेपर में यू नीड टू बी वेरी रैशनल. न्यूज़पेपर शुड ओनली, यू शुड ओनली डिवोट मैक्सिमम 1 आवर, मैक्सिमम, मैक्सिमम 1 आवर. ठीक है, एंड try to understand, go to the depth of the topic rather than making notes out of it and picking small small things. नहीं, वो काम का नहीं होता है. ठीक है, तो then only you can work, then only you can work on the, or will be able to achieve that target. इसलिए जो your question is means it holds the crux of this whole preparatory session, that try to be very practical in your approach. Don't be utopian. Don't try to be the perfectionist. This exam is not for the perfectionist. ठीक है, ये आपको, you need to have a knowledge, you need to have an understanding, and then you are be, or means that is what you need to score good in this examination. Done this thing, bibliography done. Now moving to your next aspect, that is, okay, yeah. this is the breakage actually, chronological order. हाँ, history, one aspect is very important for history, that is you should study it in chronology. In chronology हर period को connect करना, because continuity and change can only be done if you are only be studied if you are reading it in a chronological manner. So this topic has been, the whole modern India has been broken into different major events, and under East India Company's rule, then European powers in India, that we have just discussed कि आपका क्या क्या है जो एंग्लो मैसूर वॉर, देन एंग्लो मराठा वॉर, देन योर प्लासी, बक्सर, all those are part of this struggle among European powers में, even your Carnatic, mainly French and your English. During 1757 to 1857, although the crown was not ruling, it was under the rule of British East India Company. India was under the rule of British East India Company. The crown was not directly ruling over India, but there were regulating acts, charter acts, which actually defined how, or which defined how India should be ruled. Okay, how India should be ruled, and those regulating acts like 1773, Pitt's India Act 1784, and Charter Acts. Okay, that's Pitt India Act. He has written over here 1793, 33, 53, and all these acts are important. Are an important act because this will help you to the social aspect. When I just in the initial phase of this lecture, when I talked about the social aspects of this phase of 1757 to 1857, I told you that through legislations like Sati was abolished through regulation 1829. 1829. Okay, Sati. And it was abolished on the initiative of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and William Bentinck was the Governor General. Okay. And if I ask you a question like Sati was abolished under which of the, or was abolished due to the influence of which of the following ideologies? Which of the following ideologies, like first is your Orientalism, second is free traders, third is utilitarian, fourth is evangelicals. ये डिफरेंट आइडियोलॉजीज हैं जो आपके पूरे 1757 टू 1857 के फेज में जितने भी रेगुलेशंस आते हैं, ये किसी ना किसी आइडियोलॉजी से ही डिफाइन हुए हैं. सो अब यूपीएससी ये तो पूछेगा नहीं, अगर पूछ भी सकता है, बेसिक एस्पेक्ट कभी कभी पूछता भी है, तो दे कैन आस्क इवन द सिंपल क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस एबोलिशन ऑफ सती हैपेंड अंडर द और हु वाज द गवर्नर जनरल दैट टाइम, और अंडर द इनिशिएटिव ऑफ विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सोशल रिलीजियस रिफॉर्मर. तो डेफिनेटली राजा राममोहन राय. बट एक एडिशनल एस्पेक्ट, किस आइडियोलॉजी से इन्फ्लुएंस था? इफ यू नो दैट विलियम बेंटिंक वाज अ यूटिलिटेरियन. ओरिएंटलिस्ट कौन थे? वो जो अर्ली वाले, मतलब वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स एंड ऑल दैट. देन इवेंजेलिकल्स, दे बिलीव्ड इन रिलीजन और दे वांटेड टू प्रोपोगेट रिलीजन, क्रिश्चियनिटी. तो दिस एक्ट इज नथिंग टू डू विद रिलीजन, सो दैट कैन बी. Free traders, it's an economic domain. Free traders concentrated on economy, and only left one is utilitarian. Otherwise also your Macaulay, William Bentinck, they all are utilitarians. This Western education and all those things happened under the influence of utilitarian. और यहाँ से एक चीज हमने और सीखी, the art of elimination. The art of elimination which will be helpful in your prelims, very helpful in your prelims. Say ये बस चारों के मतलब पता होने चाहिए थे. If you know the meaning of evangelicals, you can easily eliminate it. It's not related to Sati Pratha. You know the meaning of utilitarian, Orientalism, then you can easily eliminate it. So this is an art of elimination which will help you to do a question correctly in prelims, even if you haven't read it, even if you haven't read exactly the same thing which have been asked. This is a very practical thing which everyone should use while doing your or attempting your prelims paper. तो हो गया ना प्रीलिम्स वाला? ठीक है, प्रीलिम्स पे एक बार फिर आएंगे आफ्टर दिस क्लास. इंडियन किंगडम्स 18th डन. फिर हाउ दे, तो दीज आर एक्चुअली द ब्रेकेज ऑफ दिस होल मॉडर्न इंडिया. उसी सिलेबस को बहुत अच्छे से ब्रेक करके दिखा दिया गया कि दीज आर द इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स यू शुड फोकस अपॉन. यू शुड फोकस अपॉन सोशल रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट, चेंजेस, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन जो भी सारे हो रहे हैं. तो इट्स जस्ट ब्रेकेज पूरा. Second World War and national movement. This phase is actually one of the most complex phase. 1940s, when you enter na 1940s, you will see different dimensions working together, and so there will be much more to read. It's not very simplistic. Like this is a straight line, you go and you will reach the targets. तो इस फेज को थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़ना होता है. यहाँ कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी थोड़ी ज़्यादा है जो बच्चों को प्रॉब्लमेटिक लगती है. तो that we need to take care of. And yes, done. These governor generals, कांग्रेस सेशंस, ये तो हैंड आउट मिल जाएगा. किस वे में? बिकॉज मल्टीपल एंगल्स काम कर रही हैं. तुम्हारे पास सिर्फ इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट नहीं रह गया है अब. इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट के साथ साथ व्हाट इंडिया विल लुक लाइक आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, उसकी भी बात हो रही है. रिलीजियस प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई हैं, पार्टीशन की बात हो रही है, एंड उस पार्टीशन और वर्ल्ड में एक इवेंट चल रहा है, सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. सो मल्टीपल इवेंट्स हैव इम्पैक्ट ऑन द डेवलपमेंट्स इन दिस फेज. उसकी वजह से the if you see, especially when the British leave India during 947, they leave in haste, and they leave in haste, and they actually didn't plan it very properly that how the things should be done. This led to the problems, some of the problems we are still facing. So that's why I said it's a complex situation, because multiple factors हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं. और done. So syllabus तो clear है. Other dimensions, tribal movements present, the reactions, these are reactions of indigenous people, native people against the British policies. So Dalit movements, women, role of press. So these are some additional topics which you should try to. This completes your syllabus. Syllabus क्या पढ़ना है बता दिया, कहाँ से पढ़ना है वो भी बता दिया. If you have any an approach is the most important thing, क्योंकि everyone knows कि क्या क्या पढ़ना है, कहाँ से पढ़ना है, but कैसे पढ़ना है, that is a very important thing which is not discussed and which the students don't understand. So approach should be very practical. उसका एक पार्ट हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. सेकेंड पॉइंट अप्रोच का होगा कि मॉडर्न और वर्ल्ड के अप्रोच अलग होते हैं. वर्ल्ड should always be read in the broader framework, because वहां एक इवेंट के कॉज, फीचर्स और इंपैक्ट में खत्म हो जाएगी कहानी. कनेक्ट करते रहोगे एंड यू विल अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग, एंड यू कैन राइट अ गुड आंसर. बट व्हेन वी आर कमिंग टू मॉडर्न में प्रीलिम्स में यू गेट गुड नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. So, apart from those backgrounds, those broader aspects, we should also focus on the smaller events, important personalities, important, say, rules, regulations, and all that, which can be asked in the prelims. Therefore, I said the approach should be different. कि prelims के मतलब से भी in modern we need to, and I'll help you in streamlining all these things when we'll start our class. So approach aspect done. क्या पढ़ना, कहाँ से पढ़ना, अप्रोच हो गया. और कुछ इससे रिगार्डिंग, इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट्स इन दिस यू कैन आस्क. द ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स कैन ऑल्सो drop your questions if you have any doubt. Otherwise, we will move to your 2020 trend analysis first and then questions. ओके, सब क्लियर? चलो, तो ट्रेंड एनालिसिस अगेन इट्स एन important थिंग which we should always, because it will help you to focus more on the important areas and modern हमेशा important होता है. Modern, if you see na, this question from freedom struggle and uh, let me, अच्छा इसमें नहीं होगा. इट्स मार्क्स एक्चुअली, इट्स मार्क्स, इट्स नॉट क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, 100 में से 30 क्वेश्चन नहीं आए थे. तो 30 marks, and this is for mains analysis. So 30, 40, 2013 to 21, its whole period has been analyzed over here. 4 question, this 40 marks from modern, and world have one question of 15, post independence have one question of 10. So this year the section of modern India and world was dominating in your mains. Out of 75, 65 was from this section only. Previous year there were no question from world in post independence and world section, but modern हमेशा रहेगा. Modern रहेगा. And but that's why it's unpredictable, you cannot say anything. Few year in this paper, if you see 50 and 40, 90 out of 140 was from these two sections. So UPSC is unpredictable. You need to focus on important topics, the basic topics of your syllabus. Completion of syllabus is also important for your examination, for your this to succeed in this examination. So this is just a trend I'm just focusing upon. So this modern will always be there, modern will always be there, and modern के अलावा वर्ल्ड और पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस के क्वेश्चंस भी आते हैं. Some years they will be more, some years they will be less. वरना एक क्वेश्चन तो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यू विल गेट फ्रॉम वर्ल्ड डेफिनेटली. It can increase, it can increase. This is your the same thing in the graphical way, कुछ अलग नहीं है. Okay, and next for prelims, this is your total questions 21, and out of which I am just focusing कि world तो है नहीं है, modern India और post independence, तो modern India is 7, 9, 6 means this year was one of the least you can say in prelims, but mains में फिर सबसे ज़्यादा आ गया. वो कहीं भी इट कैन स्विंग, बट अदरवाइज उसमें भी अगर हम देखें तो 7 out of 21 मीन्स 33% इज योर मॉडर्न. 9 out of 20 approximately around 50%. Then 6 out of 15 again around 40%. So you will get more questions from modern, that is for sure. But modern में क्या, modern is a big thing. If you analyze the recent trend, you will find that the questions from the period of 1757 to 1857 वो बहुत आ रहे हैं. So you should focus upon pre के लिए 2022 में जो दे रहे हैं, they should always keep this thing in mind, because these things are not very clearly taught in your coachings. ये period थोड़ा हवा में लगा चला जाता है सबका. And UPSC knows. हाँ, फैक्चुअल नहीं है, आप इंटर रिलेट करके लिंक करके, ऑफ कोर्स पॉलिटिकल इवेंट्स हैं, बट पॉलिटिकल से ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस आते नहीं हैं. It's more about social and your the events, like any event related to your committee formation and all that. तो कमिटी फॉर्मेशन को अगर रटने लगोगे कि हाँ ये कमिटी बनी, इसके बाद ये बनी, इसके बाद ये बनी, नहीं. क्यों बनी? आइडियोलॉजी होगी ना कोई पीछे. दैट इज वॉट विल हेल्प यू टू रिटेन दोज इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. याद तो करना ही है, वो हम नहीं छोड़ सकते, मगर उस याद करने के मीन्स उस रिटेंशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन को कितना मैक्सिमाइज कर सकते हैं, दैट विल बी माई एफर्ट. सो Done. Again the same thing in a graphical formation. Now the question of 2021. Question of 2021. So first we'll discuss the mains question, then we'll come to the prelims part. Trace the rise and growth of socio-religious reform movements with a special reference to Young Bengal movement, with a special reference to Young Bengal movement and Brahmo Samaj. First thing, you should always read a question twice. ठीक है, कभी भी ऐसा मत करना कि ओके ट्रेस द राइज एंड ग्रोथ ऑफ सोशल रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट विद स्पेशल यंग, ओके यंग बंगाल एंड ब्रह्म समाज लिख दिया. नहीं, ये दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस विद स्टूडेंट. हाँ, I know this is the practical problems with the student face. So that's why I ask all my students to read the question at least twice. क्या है? Trace the rise and growth. ये तो बस इवेंट्स दिए हैं, यंग बंगाल और ब्रह्म समाज पे थोड़ा फोकस कर दो, बट करना क्या है? ट्रेस द राइज एंड ग्रोथ ऑफ दिस रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट. तो ट्रेस द राइज एंड ग्रोथ में द फैक्टर्स विच लेड टू द राइज एंड हाउ इट ग्रू. यही तो है ट्रेस द राइज एंड ग्रोथ का मतलब, यही हुआ ना. तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द क्वेश्चन इज द प्री रिक्विजिट. अनलेस एंड अनटिल यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट, यू वोंट बी एबल टू राइट अ गुड आंसर, और उसकी वजह से नंबर नहीं मिलेंगे. आपको लगेगा पेपर तो मैं पूरा करके आया था, और ये नंबर यूपीएससी वाले नंबर ही नहीं देते हैं. क्यों नहीं देते हैं? बिकॉज उसने आपसे पूछा कि ये यहां जाना है, कैसे जाऊं, तो आपने कैसे को सुना ही नहीं, यहां जाना है बस, इस पे ही रह गए और उसी के बारे में सब लिख दिया. ऐसी चीज ना, मतलब आपके क्वेश्चन को, डिमांड को समझना, दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग टू गेट सक्सेस or to write a good answer. So here the question is, trace the rise and growth of social religious reform movement with special reference to Young Bengal and Brahmo Samaj. Now let's see it. So what are the factors? इसमें लिखना क्या क्या है आपका? Social, what is this? Socio-religious, and this topic is one of the most important topic, both prelims and mains. Socio-religious reform movement. Okay, so socio-religious reform movement, it occurred in your 19th century. 19th century. तो why it started in 19th century, उन्हीं factors को तो लिखना है. Why it started, the first factor, but इसको elaborate नहीं करेंगे बहुत ज़्यादा. It's only a 10 marker, 150 words. Word limit पे भी ध्यान रखना है. So the first two paragraphs will be related to the factors, and then we will try to link it with the this reform movements like Young Bengal and Brahmo Samaj. उसकी growth की थोड़ी बात करेंगे. So the factors which led to this rise of socio-religious reform movement in 19th century, first is the creative engagement with Western knowledge. It's not that we are copying. It's not that we are copying, we are trying to copy the Western thoughts. But we are trying to use the important thing from that knowledge, and on the basis of that we are trying to reform our existing society. हम westernization of India नहीं चाहते थे. We only wanted to reform the existing social order of India. So how we are doing it? Because by this creative engagement with the Western knowledge, and Western knowledge especially your enlightenment thoughts. Enlightenment में क्या है? Rationalism and humanism. Agree? Rationalism and humanism, these are the most two important enlightenment thoughts which influenced the social religious reformers of India. ओके तो क्रिएटिव एंगेजमेंट तो एक चीज हो गई. हम्म. हम्म. हाँ, तो that is a criticism. We are not saying that. Therefore, only na creative engagement. We are not picking everything from them. We are not saying कि racial superiority, which was their characteristic feature, it has a political dimension. Clearly, it has a political dimension. They wanted to rule over us or any other colony. So how you will rule over us? By showing that you are bad, I am good. I'll help you to rise and I'll make you a good person. सेम थिंग, बहुत प्रैक्टिकल है. ठीक है, तो बट हमने वो चीज नहीं उठाई. हम तो क्रिएटिव एंगेजमेंट कर रहे हैं. वी आर ओनली फोकसिंग ऑन द गुड थिंग्स. व्हाट आर द थिंग्स? द एनलाइटनमेंट थॉट्स, द थॉट्स ऑफ वोल्टेयर, द थॉट्स ऑफ रूसो, द थॉट्स ऑफ मॉन्टेस्क्यू. ठीक है, नहीं जाना है वहां, बट वो थॉट्स क्या थे? Those thoughts were rationalism. Those thoughts were humanism. On the basis of these thoughts, we were trying to refine our society or reform our society. We will see that the thing which we are following in our society, be it sati pratha, be it child in or infanticide, female infanticide, child marriage, तो is it rational? सिर्फ यही किया था. नहीं, if answer is no, then we will try to reform that. First, second, then second one. Okay. Second factor, after creative engagement means westerners आ रहे हैं, they are bringing western education and this is bringing new aspects, new thoughts to us. Definitely एक चीज ये तो हुई, but the westerners, अब तुम्हारे वाले इस पॉइंट पे, the westerners are coming, the britishers are coming, and along with them the coming of Christian missionaries, along with them the religious conversion, all of that. So, and against that criticism, so it was a reaction against the, sorry, why not, a reaction against the criticism of Christian missionaries, because they have some other motives. They are not trying to reform our society. They were actually trying to yes, so religious conversion, we say it, proselytization, proselytization or religious conversion. So against this proselytization, to stop this proselytization, the religious reformer tried to, क्योंकि अगर मुझे कोई क्रिटिसाइज करेगा मैं क्या करूंगा? I'll either shut your mouth. That is my immediate reaction. But at the same time, if I am a good person, means I am a rational person, I'll evaluate myself, and that is the reaction. When I evaluated, I found that few of the criticism is right. So unless and until I reform myself, this proselytization or conversion will continue, and therefore a reaction against criticism of or against this conversion, religious conversion, and criticism of Christian missionaries. Got it? तीसरी चीज, the first phase of your British imperialism is the phase of or ideology. Which ideology was faced? Orientalism. What was the aim of Orientalism? To rule India according to Indian idioms. To rule India according to Indian idioms. कैसे रूल कर पाओगे? Unless and until you know about Indian culture, Indian literature. इसके लिए क्या हुआ था? The translation of your Persian and Sanskritic work in your English was done. So because of this Orientalism, the translation of our ancient work into English happened, and therefore the Indians, the Western educated, the English learned Indians also learned about the ancient past. ठीक है, एंशियंट पास्ट के बारे में पता चला, तब पता चला कि India as a nation was already a very good or very prosperous nation. So we already have a golden past. So all those teachings also influenced these socio-religious reform. And this found that the teachings of Vedanta, they have a clear influence on the teachings of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And even your this Vedas, Arya Samaj, although in this question the Arya Samaj and Ramakrishna Paramhans and Swami Vivekananda are not a thing to discuss, but मैं in general बात कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, तो the third region was the uh, really you can say the translation of ancient scriptures made Indians aware of their golden past and the values of the ancient period, which helped them or which actually helped them to reform their society. Got it? Okay. Now, तो ये तो causes थे इन चीज़ों में ये कि because it's only a 10 marker we won't elaborate it further. 3 cause point wise लिखेंगे, ज़्यादा सोचना नहीं है. Now jump to your next part of the answer with reference to Brahmo Samaj and Young Bengal movement. Then in first paragraph we will write about Young Bengal. Hmm. 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 Uh, they didn't actually portray it like that to get converted. So that is our interpretation, and their role was different. Orientalism. What was the role? The role was to rule Indians according to Indian idioms. What is idiom? Indian law book means Indian rules and regulation के हिसाब से ही हम Indian को rule करेंगे. We won't try to westernize them. Western administrative system, language, कुछ नहीं लाएंगे. This was the aim of Orientalism, जिसके लिए उन्होंने ये translation किया था ना. Got it? So उस एम की वजह से मतलब वहां पे कुछ कंपैरिजन क्रिश्चियनिटी और वैदिक रिलीजन का या योर हिंदू रिलीजन का तो हो ही नहीं रहा. वाई फोकसिंग दैट इज एन इंटरप्रिटेशन जो तुम्हारा हो सकता है, जो मेरा हो सकता है, बट दैट इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ दिस ओरिएंटलिस्ट लर्निंग. Now, Young Bengal movement, of course, it was highly influenced by the Enlightenment thought, especially rationalism. Every act of the society and religion was evaluated on the principle of your rationalism, not Orientalism, the principles of rationalism, the ideas of enlightenment, because they use those ideas, na, rationalism. And the young Bengals under Vivian Derejo, they couldn't succeed because of their radical nature. They were very radical, and so this is how you should discuss its growth. Although they started translating, a scientific society was started by them, so which translated European sciences into your Indian languages, but that also didn't made them a huge success. Why? Because they were very radical. They were very radical. This was a drawback of the young Bengal movement. So impact, the influence, the start, the growth, and then decline. Brahmo Samaj, it was started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and he was highly influenced not only by the Western thoughts but your Indian indigenous scriptures also, like Vedanta. That you will say. Then you will show the growth of Brahmo Samaj briefly. Initially, during the time of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Sati was abolished on the efforts of through the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Brahmo Samaj. After his death, it was Dayananda, Devendranath Tagore and Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, which actually Keshav Chandra Sen, yes, Keshav Chandra Sen is a very important figure in this Brahmo Samaj. Uh, I'll think because he has a negative event attached to his life. During his early days, he was very radical. He was very scientific as an approach, but because of an event that he married his daughter to the king, who was much older, and the daughter was only 13 years old. So that event actually is a black dot on the whole career of Keshav Chandra Sen, and this led to division in Brahmo Samaj also. ठीक है, वो बाद में करेंगे, उतनी डिटेल में हम लोग ग्रोथ को नहीं जाएंगे. We won't discuss the growth of whole Brahma Samaj, because Brahma Samaj तो it continued till your means whole of 19th century, and it was only after the coming of 20th century that the relevance of Brahma Samaj decreases. So we won't discuss that much, but briefly, Brahmo Samaj, role of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, initial success, then Devendranath Tagore, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Keshav Chandra Sen. Keshav Chandra Sen, actually, his major effort was to nationalize this Brahmo Samaj. From Bengal, he took this movement outside. Okay, तो ये एक, हाँ, तो उनके ब्रांचेस खोले गए थे, तो ये इनका एक बहुत प्रोमिनेंट रोल था उसमें. बट briefly, because it's only a 10 mark. Done this question? समझ में आ गया सबको? Okay, now next one. ग्रोथ में हमें थोड़ी जर्नी दिखानी पड़ती है. ग्रोथ कैसे होगा उसकी, क्योंकि बहुत सक्सेसफुल तो कोई भी मूवमेंट नहीं रहा था, बिकॉज मास मूवमेंट कभी नहीं बन पाई है ना. तो हमें उस ग्रोथ में यही दिखाना होगा कि जैसे आपका ब्रह्म समाज डिफरेंट रीजन्स, हाँ, डिफरेंट, जैसे केशव चंद्र सेन उन्हें डिफरेंट रीजन्स में लेके गए. इट्स अ ग्रोथ ना, आपका एक एरिया से इट मूव्ड टू अदर रीजन्स, दैट इज डेफिनेटली अ ग्रोथ. तो इस टाइप के एग्जांपल्स आपको देखना. अवेयरनेस डेफिनेटली है. गॉट इट. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, ओके, ये assess the main administrative, okay, this is post independence. पहले अपना मॉडर्न इंडिया करते हैं, फिर हम पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस पे आएंगे. टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट द रोल ऑफ मॉडरेट्स प्रिपेयर अ बेस फॉर द वाइडर फ्रीडम मूवमेंट कमेंट. इट्स अ 15 मार्कर, 250 वर्ड्स, 250 वर्ड्स. सो क्वेश्चन तो समझ में आ गया ना. इट्स और ये मेरे ख्याल से पूरे पेपर का सबसे आसान क्वेश्चन होगा, क्योंकि मॉडरेट्स में हमें पढ़नी दो चीज होती हैं, कि मॉडरेट्स का फेलियर क्यों हुआ और मॉडरेट्स का सक्सेस क्या है, सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है. प्रीलिम्स में और भी चीजें, मेंस पर्सपेक्टिव से बोल लो. तो टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट डिड द रोल ऑफ मॉडरेट्स प्रिपेयर अ बेस फॉर द वाइडर, मींस हियर वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस द significance of this moderate phase, but it's a 250 words 15 mark question. So हम यहाँ थोड़ा बात करते हैं कि how you should introduce your answer, what should be the body structure, क्योंकि वो एक एस्पेक्ट है आपकी राइटिंग स्टाइल में. इंट्रोडक्शन either introduce through definition और थ्रू बैकग्राउंड. अगर कोई ऐसा इवेंट आ गया क्वेश्चन में, तो बैकग्राउंड कैसे कर सकते हो, और अ जेनरिक फीचर ऑफ द मेजर डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. सो यहाँ क्या हो सकता है, टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट द रोल ऑफ मॉडरेट्स प्रिपेयर अ बेस फॉर द वाइडर फ्रीडम मूवमेंट. तो इंट्रोडक्शन इन कैसे करोगे, मतलब हाउ यू विल ट्राई टू डू इंट्रोड्यूस योर आंसर. नेम्स, नहीं, वो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट इज पोस्ट मॉडरेट फेज, तो हम लोग वहां नहीं जाएंगे. अच्छा, उतना तो हाँ कर सकते हो. थ्री पीस दे यूज द मेथड, बट इसको हम और सिंपल रखेंगे इंट्रोडक्शन को. उतना ज्यादा नहीं जाके बहुत सिंपल रखते हैं. मॉडरेट फेज जो है आपके इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट, इट इज द इनिशियल फेज ऑफ इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट which can be characterized by the constitutional use of constitutional methods in the as a method of protest, full stop. These methods are mainly these methods are mainly three P's, like your protest, petition and prayer. Prayer, petition and protest, these three ना. तो इस टाइप से कुछ बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन, जस्ट इंट्रोडक्टरी. वहां पे इवन यू कैन ऐड फ्यू नेम्स इफ यू वांट, द रिफॉर्मर्स लाइक और द मॉडरेट कांग्रेसमैन. Philanthropy nahi. Philanthropy is mainly for your social. It has more social connotation attached to it rather than a political connotation. Okay. Yeah, Dadabhai Naroji or Tayyab ji or Gokhale, Gopal or I may why I'm just continuing. वैसे चार एग्जाम्पल बहुत होते हैं, बट वाई आई एम जस्ट फोकसिंग इन और क्यों कह रहा हूँ? क्योंकि मुझे वो नाम नहीं मिल रहे हैं जो मैं चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं उन नाम को तुम्हें आगे कनेक्ट करूंगा उनकी इंपॉर्टेंस से. ही वॉज नॉट एम जी रनाडे. ठीक है. And Dadabhai Naroji we have seen. Then your any other economist of that phase who was, means this phase is a phase of economic nationalism. That is the relevance. Yes, you're right. R.C. Dutt. R.C. Dutt. What is the name of the book written by R.C. Dutt? Yes, the economic history of India. And in that book, he actually discussed the negative impact of the land revenue system, the impact it, how it caused the impoverishment of the rural people. Okay, increase in poverty and all those things. So his work is very impactful as well as enlightening. One of the most important book which actually created a base for this national movement thereafter. So work of R.C. Dutt. M.G. Ranade, he actually wrote several articles in different newspapers. He was also an economist, and his whole articles were combined together in the book of Essay on Colonialism. Essay on Colonialism. And the third is Dadabhai Naroji. That was the theory which he gave. Theory drain. But it's only the half name of the book. Un-British rule. Poverty and un-British rule in India. Poverty and un-British rule in India. ठीक है, तो मुझे वो नाम सुनने थे, इसलिए ही आई वॉज जस्ट आस्किंग यू और एंड क्यों सुनने थे वो तुम्हें पता चल गया. तो अब आते हैं इस क्वेश्चन यू हैव जस्ट अंडरस्टूड, जस्ट राइट डाउन द आंसर. सो बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन, बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ मॉडरेट्स, देन बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होगा? इट विल बी डायरेक्टली द significance of your moderates. The most important significance is your economic nationalism. This phase is actually termed as the phase of economic nationalism. The work of these moderates like Dadabhai Naroji, M.G. Ranade, R.C. Dutt, they exposed the exploitative character of the British rule. They exposed the exploitative character of the British rule and gave the theory, and of course criticized them, and how they exposed those character by giving the theories like drain of wealth theory of Dadabhai Naroji. Fine. So those things you need to highlight over here. And what is the impact of this? This created the base for your national movement because it exposed the Britishers. And although the moderates are criticized that they believed in this British rule, so yes, they believed in this British rule, but they said un-British rule in India. If you see the head or the name of the book of Dadabhai Naroji, it's un-British rule. What do you mean by un-British rule? It's not like the Britishers. Means the Britishers rule in Britain in a different way, and in India they are ruling it un-British way. So that was the thing which Dadabhai Naroji was trying to convey through the title of his book. And therefore, he moderates are criticized. But here we are focusing on the significance of moderates. So the significance is economic nationalism, the impact of economic nationalism, that it made the Indians aware of the exploitative character of your British India or British rule, or वहीं पे the land revenue system, deindustrialization, all the things you will discuss over here. And this created a base over which the extremists rose. So we cannot deny that the moderates didn't have any role to play in your Indian national movement. So that would be a very uh, means very derogatory thing to say for them. वन इज इकोनॉमिक नेशनलिज्म. अगेन सोचना कैसे है, हम वही अपने चार एंगल्स क्या क्या हैं. फर्स्ट इज इकोनॉमिक नेशनलिज्म, सेकंड इज सोशल पॉलिटिकल कल्चर. पॉलिटिकल में कुछ हुआ क्या? थिंक up unless and until your thoughts are clear, your thinking process is streamlined, your answer won't be clear. तुम्हें पॉइंट्स मिल जाएंगे मगर वो जम्बल्ड मिलेंगे. एंड जम्बल्ड मिलेंगे तो वो आंसर जो है दैट आंसर वुड लैक योर कंटिन्यूटी, विल लैक द फ्लो, एंड देयरफॉर यू वोंट बी एबल टू गुड मार्क. सो यहां पे थोड़ी क्लैरिटी लानी है. अगला पॉलिटिकल कुछ हो रहा है क्या? वो तो मतलब आफ्टर दिस नहीं क्या लॉज. मॉडरेट्स के टाइम में ब्रिटिश ने अपनी पॉलिसी चेंज कर दी थी. दे वर नॉट ब्रिंगिंग मेनी लॉज एक्चुअली. वो लॉज जो आ रहे थे वो रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट के टर्म में आ रहे थे, एंड सोशल रिफॉर्म्स वर नॉट अ मेगर. आफ्टर 1857 द ब्रिटिश एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चेंजेस, एंड व्हाट वाज द मेजर चेंज? दैट दे left the Indians to live their own way, because the Britishers found that this 1857 revolt, the major cause of this revolt was the cultural as well as the interference in the culture and religion by the Britishers. तो इसलिए उसके बाद छोड़ दिया उन्होंने, नहीं करते थे कुछ. बहुत बहुत प्रोमिनेंट एक्ट्स नहीं आए. और कुछ एनीथिंग एल्स व्हिच यू कैन थिंक ऑफ? पॉलिटिकल सोचो ना, दिस इज द बेस ओवर विच दिस होल इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट, द पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट इज कॉर्नर्ड एक्चुअली. तो द पॉलिटिकल सिग्निफिकेंस यू कैन थिंक ऑफ. हाँ बिल्कुल, डिमांड ऑफ नहीं, वो एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है, बट यस द यू कैन से पॉलिटिकल एजुकेशन. Although the political participation of masses was not an agenda of these moderates, but political education was definitely one of the major agenda of the political education. And how? So it was not only वो तो बात की बात है. वो स्वदेशी मूवमेंट के टाइम होता है ना, नेशनल एजुकेशन काउंसिल जब सेटअप होता है 1906. बट और कुछ मीन्स दिस इज द हिंट. पॉलिटिकल एजुकेशन कैसे करेंगे? क्योंकि वो तो ईयरली अफेयर था. कांग्रेस असेंबली वाज अ ईयरली अफेयर, एक बार मिल रहे हैं. थ्रू प्रेस, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ दीज पॉलिटिकल participants or moderate leaders, they were editors of press, they were journalists themselves, and they used this press to spread their idea, the political aims, and they criticized the government policies. So this was also significance of moderates, and therefore the vernacular press is also called as view paper. View paper of whom? Of the moderates only. So political education है ना, बेस बना रहे हैं वो, definitely. Although social में it is criticized कि they didn't took up the social issues very seriously, and because again it has a reason, because they don't want to mix up politics and social thing. But these two important aspect is definitely the significance of your moderates. और कुछ significance of moderates में. Later on, though, during your Swadesi movement, 1906, when Dadabhai Naoroji was your chairperson of this Congress session, so that Swaraj was accepted as a. So that was actually a mixture, means influence of extremists. Also, you can say it's not only the work of moderates, but yes, it was done during the moderates' time. Economic nationalism, elaborately you need to discuss. Then political role, that political significance also you will discuss, and then we will. And the question is, just read that question once, then only we can write a better conclusion. To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider? To what extent? So conclusion need to be on the critical side. बिकॉज वी नो ये पॉजिटिव्स हैं, बट फिर भी कुछ नेगेटिव्स तो थे. मास को कभी रोल नहीं दिया, मास को कभी रोल नहीं दिया, एंड बिकॉज दे थॉट दैट द मासेस वर नॉट रेडी फॉर पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन. So that so in concluding remarks, you should say that they did prepared a base for the wider freedom movement, but need to be, means some more things need to be worked upon, which was actually done by महात्मा गांधी. पहले तो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट का राइज दिखाओगे और फिर कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स में महात्मा गांधी एंड मास पार्टिसिपेशन की बात करोगे. तो दोनों ही चीजें होंगी कि आफ्टर दिस मॉडरेट्स द राइज ऑफ एक्सट्रीमिस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ देयर फेलियर, एंड बट वो बहुत ब्रीफ होगा, बहुत ब्रीफ. अंडरस्टूड. नाउ नेक्स्ट वन इज bring out the constructive programs of Mahatma Gandhi during non-cooperation movement and civil disobedient movement. Very direct question, very direct question. कुछ ऐसा नहीं है इसमें, बट ये है कि यू शुड नो व्हाट आर द कंस्ट्रक्टिव प्रोग्राम्स एंड हाउ and why he actually brought these constructive programs in his whole curriculum, if I can say, or whole national movement, why he made it a part. That you should know. So this you understood now. Next one. So constructive programs aim kya tha? Gandhi was actually, he believed in, he had an experience of South Africa experiments, and he believed in a mass movement. And for keeping the masses or making the masses ready for any national movement, you need to engage with them and you need to work for their development. Unless and until you do that, you won't be able to be a mass leader. So this was the aim for the constructive program. And this whole policy of, or this whole scheme of Gandhian program is actually the scheme of struggle, truce, struggle. Bipin Chandra have very beautifully discussed this. So struggle, truce, struggle. Gandhi believed that this national movement, and he was a believer of non-violence, satyagrah, non-violence. He knew that this masses, if they are continuously in the struggle mode, they will start violence, because they are, everyone is not ready for this non-violent thing. Everyone is not ready to give his second cheek if you just hit him on the first cheek. Got it? So you need to prepare them. और ये आश्रम में होता क्या था? Those ashrams, Sabarmati ashram and other ashrams, these were the grounds from where the Gandhians were born. The philosophical teachings of Gandhis were taught in those ashrams. ठीक है? So he knew that अगर मैं struggle phase में रखूंगा तो the people will lose their patience and some kind of violence. Chauri Chaura incident. After this, he recalled or he withdrew your non-cooperation movement. All that. Okay. Therefore, there must be a period of truce. It's like this. It's like this. Sinusoidal curve है. अगर आप straight line घुमाते रहोगे, then this movement will be revolutionary and it won't be your this, you can say, peace movement, or you can say non-violent movement, not peace movement, non-violent movement. So this is the true spirit. इस true spirit में क्या करोगे? ट्रू रेस्ट नहीं होगा इस ट्रू स्पिरिट में. अगर रेस्ट हो गया फिर तो मूवमेंट खत्म हो गया. मूवमेंट को जिंदा रखने के लिए यू नीड टू री एनर्जाइज देमसेल्फ थ्रू दीज कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क. कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क्स ना. और व्हाट वर द कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क्स, ये आपको मेजर फोकस करना है. स्टार्ट विद दिस स्ट्रगल टू स्ट्रगल थिंग एंड देन स्टार्ट डिस्कस द कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क. द फर्स्ट कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क इज village upliftment, or you can say village economy need to be worked upon, or in this sector he was trying to uplift. And how he was planning to do that? He was not a very prominent supporter of industrialization. He was a supporter of a self-sufficient village-based economy, and village economy can be upgraded with the use of your cot- cottage industries, cottage and your khadi, mainly khadi industries. For this, during NCM, what are the things he did? NCM के second phase में even Congress have this तिलक स्वराज फंड. ठीक है, तो तिलक स्वराज फंड की एक अच्छा खासा सेक्शन चरखा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए था. 20 लाख चरखाs were distributed in the villages of India. Why it was done? It was for the economic regeneration of the village, for this cottage and village industry, for the development of your khadi. Got it? So you can write this, and it was part of NCM. ये पहला aim, constructive work, and this thing continued. Charkha is a symbol of Gandhi in India because he used it as a symbol for village regeneration, or you can say economic growth of villages and khadi thing. Second, national education. National education. Gandhi didn't believe in Western education as such. He was more means he mostly supported indigenous education and national education thing. And during his this period, two of the very famous universities, Delhi में कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी है? नहीं, जामिया मिलिया इसमें कब स्टैब्लिश हुई? 1920. अलीगढ़ में पहले, फिर बाद में इधर आई. नेक्स्ट, विद्यापीठ, काशी विद्यापीठ कब स्टैब्लिश हुई? 1921. Can relate things that the national education was a target of one of the part of the constructive programs of Mahatma Gandhi, and definitely it played an important role in your establishment of these institutes also. So, एक दो तीन. सोशल एस्पेक्ट में क्या हो सकता है? सोशो रिलीजियस एस्पेक्ट में अगेन थॉट्स वहीं जा रहे हैं. थॉट्स एक ही चीज होता है. अच्छा, इकोनॉमी को कैसे सुधारा, सोशल को कैसे सुधारा, और कुछ कर रहे हैं क्या? वो सोशल में और कुछ किया गया, रिलीजन में और कुछ किया गया? डिड ही सोशल रिलीजियस में द फर्स्ट थिंग इज हिंदू मुस्लिम यूनिटी. अग्री? हिंदू मुस्लिम यूनिटी. His whole aim of joining Khilafat was to combine these two forces together of the society. So खिलाफत और नॉन कॉपरेशन को एक साथ लाने का मकसद ही पूरा यही था. So Hindu Muslim unity, and this was one of the teachings which he tried to continue till 1947. जब when whole of India was celebrating independence, he was in the streets of Calcutta where this communal violence was there. Okay, so he was always a believer of Hindu Muslim unity, and he tried to create a composite culture by means through his efforts to create a Hindu Muslim unity, which was clearly seen during NCM, although in CDM it was not seen. Although in CDM he couldn't achieve his goals. सो हिंदू मुस्लिम यूनिटी हो गई, और कुछ सोशल एस्पेक्ट में? गांधी, गांधी इज वेरी मच रिलेटेड टू, गांधी और अंबेडकर लिंकेज कहीं दिख रहा है? गांधी और अंबेडकर, अंबेडकर इज अ सिंबल ऑफ annihilation of caste. He was a Dalit leader. He believed in annihilation of caste. Although Gandhi also wanted upliftment of Dalits, but he never wanted annihilation of caste as such. That is the difference. But यहाँ हम focus कर रहे हैं social constructive program पे. तो what is the constructive program? Upliftment of Dalits, whom he called Harijan. Harijan. So upliftment of your Harijans. This was also a part of the constructive programs. Got it? So you need to elaborate on these. You need to elaborate on this, and these things and concluding remarks you need to show that yes, these things definitely help to broaden the social base of this national movement. It prepared women empowerment also was part of his constructive program, and all this thing definitely broaden the base of your national movement. Got it? Clear? Next, post independence. Assess the main administrative issues and socio-cultural problems in your integration. It's a pretty direct question. Pretty direct question. Your administrative issues and, so what are the, because this integration process of Indian princely state. This was the first problem which independent India faced. Okay, and these princely states are located in different regions. 565 was the total number, and by the time of 19 means before 15th August 1947, 562 already joined Indian Union. Only three didn't join. The name of three are Junagadh, Kashmir, and Hyderabad. So, with respect to them, also there is a problem, administrative issue, that they are within the zone of India, and say Hyderabad, say Junagadh. Hyderabad and Junagadh, if you see the map of India, you can locate. This is mainly the Junagadh region. This is your Hyderabad state. They are in the core of your Indian subcontinent. If they remain independent, it can have administrative issues. So ये तो एक बात. दूसरी, and Kashmir was actually sharing border with Pakistan, so it has not only administrative but also your security issues. But while doing so, what are the problems? While doing this integration thing, what are the problems which the Indians faced, and who among Indians, the leader of this whole thing, means why Sardar Patel is called as Bismarck of India. Sardar Patel is also called Bismarck of India. Bismarck is the leader under whom unification of Germany happened. Germany was also conglomeration of your 39 states when, yes, yeah, is termed as Bismarck. Because India, during the time of Britishers, there were two India. One is your British India, and the other one is your princely states. Agree? So, इन दोनों इंडिया को किसने जोड़ा? Patel and VP Menon. VP Menon was the secretary, and Patel was the minister of the department created. Done. So, what was the administrative issues? Administrative issues was regarding, say, in the instrument of accession, only your three rights. That is your only three departments actually: the foreign department, the communication, and defense was taken over. Other departments were left to them. Otherwise also, most of the princes, they were autonomous for centuries. How they will give their autonomy so easily? So this was a problem, an administrative issue in making them, or in making them accept those instrument of accession. That was an issue. So these issues you need to, the issues which they faced during this time of this unification of princely states or integration of princely states into Indian Union, you need to discuss. In socio-cultural, what you can write, say there are different. This population is your Hindu population. Junagadh maximum population was Hindu, but the Nawab was Hindu. Nawab was Muslim. Okay, so the people on the ground is having a different say. The Nawab is having a different say. So this is also kind of creating cultural issue, socio-cultural, in the sense ki there is at one hand one group is supporting Indian and the other one is supporting your Pakistan. So that created not only administrative but socio-cultural issues also. At the same time, Hyderabad was multilingual state. Some people are Marathi speaking, some people are Telugu speaking, some people are your Tamil speaking. So this multilingual state have other problems of uniting them or integrating them within the other. That is your socio-cultural dimension that you can add. And so ये आपका socio-cultural or administrative for this. Even popular movements were going on in say हैदराबाद में तेलंगाना movement चल रहा था during that time. So वो these are the major problems you can highlight for in this answer. And we need to make it quick. ये सारो चारों समझ में आ गए. I hope it's clear. And the next one, there arose a serious challenge to the democratic state system between the two world wars. Again, क्वेश्चन किसी इवेंट पे डायरेक्ट नहीं पूछ रहा है. क्वेश्चन इज एक्चुअली रिलेटेड टू द बैकग्राउंड. It is a period of two world wars, that is your 1914 or 1918 to 1939. This is the period of between two world wars. So what was the thing happening during this period that you need to highlight, and how that was a serious challenge to democracy? So why there was a serious challenge and what was the serious challenge? Though these two aspects you need to highlight. And so you will start with the first factor. In introduction, you will write about the rise of modern democracies across the world after 19 or after First World War. Those nascent democracies were established in different regions. Germany में भी आता है, Italy में भी आता है, and other parts of Europe also. But at the same time, those democracies couldn't sustain for a long. Why? Because of the hardships. Then you will discuss the hardships, the causes of the rise of your totalitarian states. कहाँ कहाँ होगा? So in introduction you will start with democracies, but it couldn't sustain because of the following reasons. The reasons are: first, the economic hardship. Economic hardship caused due to your Treaty of Versailles. Treaty of Versailles. Germany, Italy, especially Germany. Economic hardship उसकी वजह से. Second, the failure of the democratic government to have, you can say, political and uh, peace. Political, it's not, the word is, it's not peace actually, the political stability, because there were different groups which were rising against those democratic units. The political stability was lacking, economic hardship was there. At the same time, we have the rise of socialism all throughout the world. And socialism is neither favoring your democracy, means communist, especially communism is neither favoring your democracy and nor your this totalitarian state, means authoritarian, like fascism and Nazism. Okay, so उन factors में पहला economy हो गया, दूसरा आपका political instability, and then third one is, after political instability you can discuss your one major thing which happened during this phase was also with economic hardship, you can also relate your the Great Depression. हाँ, उसमें भी ऐड कर सकते हो, अलग से भी लिख सकते हो. हाँ, Great Depression of 1929 to 32. It actually created a urgency among the different nations to find an alternative system, to find an alternative government. US could sustain it because the government reformed, brought few reforms, but the newly developed economy couldn't bring any reforms, couldn't sustain this Great Depression thing, and this gave rise to the rise of the totalitarian states, the leaders like Mussolini in your Italy, Hitler in your Germany, and also totalitarian state was established in Japan. So these three are the sign of forces against democracy. At the same time, one more challenge was there, that is your communist. Agree? Communist was also not democratic, na? So the rule of Lenin, Stalin, all those you can discuss. So these four uh, forces were the real challenge against the democracies. Done. इसे ही डिस्कस करना है एंड evaluate this statement. So you will say definitely these challenges were there, and what was the result? It resulted into your second world war. But post second world war, the step was taken to bring back the political order in world, and this led to your development of more democracies. ये हो गया. Of course, it led to Second World War. The world was divided into totalitarian states, and पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी क्यों आ रही है, वो रीजन तो हो गया आपका टोटलिटेरियन स्टेट का. बट जब टोटलिटेरियन स्टेट फंडिंग तो वहाँ पे डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स जो टोटलिटेरियन स्टेट्स के थे, दैट वर आल्सो गोइंग ऑन, लाइक कॉर्पोरेट स्टेट प्रोग्राम ऑफ योर मुसोलिनी. Mussolini believed in that. Hitler also favored this agriculture development programs. So farms and all that kept on happening. और उसके अलावा, so yes, we can write that it was major reason for this Second World War is definitely the works of your Hitler, and he was a totalitarian. Now, mains questions done. Next one is your sorry, prelims. Prelims में भी वो it won't take more than 10 minutes. Prelims में क्या क्या है? तो the first question, only 7 questions were there in prelims. Very simple one, and most of the simple questions are simple, except one or two. Montego-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting of voting rights to all the women above age 21. It did granted voting rights to women, but not to all. Not to all. एलीट एंड ऑफ कोर्स एडल्ट सफरेज ही नहीं था पूरे इंडिया में, मेंस को नहीं मिला था उस टाइम तक. तो हाउ कैन ऑल द वुमेन गेट? ऑफ कोर्स वोटिंग राइट्स वर गिवन टू वुमेन बट नॉट टू ऑल वुमेन ऑफ इंडिया. देयरफॉर दिस स्टेटमेंट इज, वैसे भी यूपीएससी में एट द मैक्सिमम टाइम द यूज ऑफ extreme words that most of the time it is wrong. बट ठीक है, हम तो अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग से, अपने नॉलेज से भी देख सकते हैं इसे. देन द सेकंड वन, द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट ऑफ 1935 गेव वुमेन रिजर्व्ड सीट्स इन लेजिस्लेचर. सो 1935, बिफोर दैट देयर वाज डेफिनेटली अ वुमेन मूवमेंट इन इंडिया, एंड द लीडर्स लाइक सरोजिनी नायडू एंड अदर्स, दे डेफिनेटली प्रिफर्ड this women political empowerment of women, and the major demand was to provide them seats, reservation, political empowerment. So this statement 2 is correct, whereas 1 is wrong. Done. इस बार तो पीटी was very easy. with reference to it, this is it's like one of the most easiest question asked in UPSC thing. अगर वैसे भी पता हो कि ये सारे इवेंट्स कब कब हुए हैं, देन ऑल्सो यू कैन डू द क्वेश्चन. तो 8th August 1942, every book, every teacher while teaching Quit India movement says that this is the day on which the Quit India resolution was passed. So the Quit India resolution was adopted by Congress. This is the correct answer. But उसके अलावा भी क्रिप्स मिशन कब आया था? क्रिप्स मिशन 1942 में ही आया था, बट इट वाज मार्च नॉट अगस्त. सो क्रिप्स मिशन तो वापस जा चुका था. कांग्रेस मिनिस्टर्स रिजाइंड इन 7 प्रोविंसेस कब किया था? सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर 1939. 37 के इलेक्शन में इलेक्ट होते हैं, 39 में चले जाते हैं. तो ये तो 39 का इवेंट है, 42 में थोड़ी होगा. ऐसे एलिमिनेट भी कर सकते हो अगर पता हो तो, बट द आंसर इट्स वेरी इजी. नेक्स्ट वन, who among the following is associated with songs from prison? This is a kind of tricky one, means because जनरल कहीं सोर्सेज में कहीं नहीं होता है. एंड ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ एंशियंट इंडियन रिलीजियस लिरिक्स इन इंग्लिश. एंड इसमें से प्रिजन तो सब गए थे, बाल गंगाधर तिलक ने गीता रहस्य लिखी थी. दिस इज अ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट थिंग विच हैव बीन मेंशन इन मोस्ट ऑफ द सोर्सेज, गीता रहस्य. देन जवाहरलाल नेहरू, उनकी ऑटोबायोग्राफी है, कोई मेजर वर्क ऐसा नहीं. सरोजनी नायडू के लिए भी हमने ऐसा नहीं पढ़ा है. एंड तो अगर एलिमिनेशन टेक्निक भी यूज करें, देन मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंट आंसर वुड बी गांधी. एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली द करेक्ट आंसर. बट हाँ, ये डायरेक्ट आपको मतलब इफ यू डोंट नो यू कैन लीव ऑल्सो इफ यू आर very conservative one. Few people they want to score when they have very good accuracy rate, even 80-85%. So for those people these questions they can leave. Next one, who among the following was associated as secretary with Hindu female school which later became Betun school? Betun school कब form हुआ था? It was established, the first female school ना, it was established in 1849. And एनी बेसेंट उस टाइम तो थी ही नहीं. देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर हो सकते हैं, वैसे तो 1830s में ही वॉज अ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट पर्सन, बट यस एक बार फिर भी क्वेश्चन मार्क आ गया. सरोजनी नायडू भी नहीं होगी, तो इधर दिस. बट ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर क्यों ज्यादा प्रोमिनेंट है? बिकॉज ही इज द वन हु वर्कड फॉर वुमेन एजुकेशन और एजुकेशन एज सच. विद्यासागर नाम ही इसलिए पड़ा उनका. He got this name Vidyasagar because of this only. So he worked for not only widow remarriage, he worked for women education. He was a principal of this, later became the principal of Betunu school, or otherwise also he established several schools. So he is the most prominent figure. Next, in the context of colonial India, Shah Nawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Sehgal and Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon are remembered as. हर किताब में, हर बेसिक नोट्स में यू विल फाइंड दैट दीज आर द 3 INA prisoners who were trialed at Red Fort. दिस INA ट्रायल में किनको ट्रायल किया गया था? सबसे पहले यही 3 थे. These were the 3 people, 3, and they were actually the INA, the Indian National Army officials who were captured by British forces during their Kohima expedition, or during their Kohima mission, and then they were tried at Red Fort. तो INA trials क्या है? स्वदेशी and boycott नहीं. Members of interim government in 1946, we haven't heard it. Members of drafting committee of Constituent Assembly, बिल्कुल. तो यही, दिस इज द टेक्निक. आपको अगर बेसिक आइडिया है ना, तो प्री तो निकाल लोगे. थोड़ा अपना ब्रेन यूज करना है, आप कर सकते हो. प्री के टाइम अभी कैसा, ऐसा नहीं होता कि द थिंग्स विच यू हैव रेड ओनली यू विल डू. वहां पे यू नीड टू अप्लाई योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग प्रीलिम्स में. Next, in the first quarter of 17th century, which of the following were the factories of the English East India Company located? Factories of the English East India Company. फर्स्ट हाफ में फर्स्ट क्वार्टर बोल रहा है, फर्स्ट क्वार्टर बोल रहा है तो 1601 टू 1625 बोल रहा है, मींस अर्ली फेज है ये तो। अर्ली फेज में तो सिर्फ वेस्टर्न कोस्ट पे आए थे। वेस्टर्न कोस्ट में सूरत, ब्रोच और अहमदाबाद, यही सेट किया था ना। चिकाकोल और श्रीकाकुलम इज इन योर आंध्रा, तिरुचिरापल्ली इज इन साउथ, मीन्स बोथ ऑफ दीज आर द ईस्टर्न कोस्ट। वेस्टर्न कोस्ट भी अगर पता हो तो ब्रोच हो जाएगा, अदरवाइज दीज थ्री, वन ओनली। यहाँ पे तिरुचिरापल्ली में योर 18th सेंचुरी एंड चिकाकोल में द सेकेंड हाफ ऑफ योर 17th सेंचुरी। फैक्ट्रीज क्या होती थी? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फैक्ट्रीज? हाँ, yes, this is what means. Factory is not like a factory industry for production. It's the go down where they means kind of, हाँ, warehouse है ये, जहाँ पे वो ट्रेडिंग के लिए स्टोर करेंगे मटेरियल को और वहां से ट्रेड करेंगे। तो फैक्ट्रीज क्या होते हैं पता होना चाहिए। Last question is with reference to Madanapalle. Again, this question is kind of tough because again not covered everywhere. So Madanapalle, Pengayya Venkayya designed the tricolor Indian national flag. Yes, he did, but not here. Then Pattabi Sitaramaiya led the Quit India movement of Andhra region from here. No, he didn't. Rabindranath Tagore definitely translated the national anthem from Bengal. Again, it's a kind of factual information which, if you have read, you can do. Got it? So these kind of questions are those, if you don't know, then you can leave. It's better to leave rather than try to guess unnecessarily. Try to guess unnecessarily. वहां पे उन्होंने लिखा था इंग्लिश में, मतलब he was at this place, he translated it into English. He lived at Madnaballi for a few time and there he translated this. So ये तो factual information जिसके लिए हम concept ज़्यादा नहीं लगा सकते, ठीक है? So with this I think our we're done with, and I hope this session is very means it will help you guys, and these 2 hours or 2 hours 15 20 minutes will just try to follow few of the basic things, because before starting you should have a basic idea how to start, and this is what this session was all about, how to start or how to study. So with this I'll take goodbye and I'll take a leave. Thank you.